this class, we're talking about clairsentience and how the feeling sense works. As always, we'll do a few exercises and practice techniques as well. This class, I've got Coco joining me.
Hi, guys.
So that I'm going to have someone to practice with and show you examples of how you can practice with your friends to develop your clairsentience. But first, I want to explain to you how it works. So let's do this. So clairsentience is the term that we use for sensing emotions, feelings, and physical symptoms. And we're sensing those symptoms of someone other than ourselves. So either we might be tuning into a deceased person or a living person. Now remember, if you're tuning to a deceased person, it's under the mediumship banner, whereas if we're tuning to a living person, it's what we call psychic. So that's the energies that we're using, but it's the same sense that we use. So someone who uses this sense is referred to as clairsentient. And clairsentience can be picking up on feelings such as depression, anxiety, worry, loneliness, maybe pride. What else? Detachment, confusion, guilt, or excitement. So actually any feeling that someone is having, we can pick up on that. And we know that we don't have to be in the same room as them, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
So we can, that's why it's possible to read for or tune to friends or family across the globe even. So energy knows no boundaries. The other thing that clairsentience tunes to is emotion. So any emotion can be felt through the clairsentience sense. Joy, sadness, anger, bitterness, all of those types of things. And also, clairsentience is responsible for when we pick up on physical symptoms that aren't ours. So when we're picking up on physical symptoms, what I mean is health issues, aches, pains, breathing problems, any physical challenges experienced in life. If we're tuning to someone who is passed over and we're tuning to their spirit, then they can make us feel like they did, whether it's the absence of a limb, blindness, deafness, or we can also sense height and weight. That all comes through our clairsentience sense, the feeling sense. So as with all the senses, and so far we've covered clairvoyance and clairaudience, so seeing and hearing. One or more of these senses is stronger in each of us. So Cody, do you feel like clairsentience is strong within you?
I didn't used to think it was. I just thought maybe this one was, but yeah,
Clairvoyance.
recently when I've been doing readings and things like that, I've been getting clairsentient emotions and things like that. Yeah.
And you know, maybe one thing that in everyday life that people might pick up on that's actually clairsentience is this feeling that you need to call your mum, call your daughter, call your friend, but just you have this feeling, and maybe you feel like they need to hear from you, or maybe you feel like they're sad, or they're got some news, whatever. All of that's clairsentience, but that's in a day-to-day terms where we are using it maybe without even realizing. So indications that you're clairsentient could be that you suddenly feel depressed when there's no good reason. So when I say depressed, it might be that your mood changes all of a sudden, but nothing's happened to you or around you that would create or cause that to happen. So this is an indication that you're picking up. And the trouble with this is, until we realize that we have these senses, we always think it's us.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, why? What's happened? Why am I suddenly feeling why is my mood dropped all of a sudden?
Mm-hmm.
So, and maybe another thing, plummeting into sadness when you were happy a moment ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, this can happen if you're watching a film, but that will be a cause because you saw something that made you happy or down.
For it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So roller coasting emotions is an indication that you actually are picking up on other people. Not only other people, when there's a collective energy in our universe as well, which is driven by the planets and the moon. Mm-hmm. So it's possible around full moon time, new moon, and those types of phases through the month that the energy can get pretty intense. And again, if your life is pretty smooth, it can be that you're picking up on disruption that other people are feeling. Mm-hmm. But all that through clairsentience. So some other indications, heartbeat might increase. It's called quickening. So your heartbeat might start to race and you can start to think there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Because why is this happening? And of course, in Western medicine, it's probably not ideal that your heart's beating really quick.
Yeah.
So it can be alarming. But once you realize that it is either somebody's in your energy, or you're tuning into someone or picking up on someone, then actually as soon as you acknowledge that and it's not yours, it goes. Another indication might be that you're feeling achy or stiff in your joints, but you haven't done anything or you haven't had this experience before or felt like this before. Yep. So that's a physical symptom. And something else that can happen is your eyesight might go blurry. Mm-hmm. And I guess that would be alarming, particularly if you have 20/20 vision. Yep. And suddenly your eyesight's blurry. But this also can be that a passed over spirit or even someone that you know you're tuning to them and suddenly you're kind of seeing the world through their eyes, literally. Going deaf momentarily, that can be a thing, or the feeling that sometimes we get in our ears. Yep. Can be picking up on someone else, or even tears that come out of the blue. Mm. And it's often not until later, if your friend calls you, for example, and then you're like, oh, she's been really sad or she's been crying today, then it might have been at the time that this overcame you. Yep. So that's clairsentience. It's amazing. It's an amazing sense. I do wonder if it's actually quite strong in many of us and we don't quite realise it.
So I've got a question. How do you know how to separate, like if someone was sick and maybe had, like obviously I'm younger and fit, like quite healthy and exercise a lot, but if I was an older person, above 50 that heart conditions, increase or whatever, I don't know, illnesses, sicknesses happen, and you feel symptoms of those things too, how do you know how to separate that? Can you check with yourself, or how do you recognize the difference?
That's a really good question, and I'm about to be 50, but I don't have all those aches. But anyway, yes, you check with yourself. Mm-hmm. You literally check in with yourself. So you have to take the moment, and you can close your eyes, or you can get really good at it.
Yep.
And just ask yourself, is this mine? And what happens is, if it's not, dissipates real quick because you've acknowledged it.
Yeah.
Having said that, if it's a passed over spirit trying to get through, mm-hmm. they might be more forceful and be like, but I want you to listen to me, so that feeling stays.
Yeah.
And what would then happen is you need to be slowing yourself down enough to hear what they want, mm-hmm. or receive their information. But ultimately, if it's not yours, it will clear.
Yeah.
That's with all the symptoms.
Yeah. I suppose even if it is yours or whomever's, like if it's a passed over spirit or something, it's about acknowledging, even if it is yours, then you'll know it's yours. So regardless, it's still about acknowledging, and then you can next phase, whatever that be, to help fix it or communicate with.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess you're right there. If it is ours, then we also have to deal with that, because there's another thing, that there can be this tendency when we are aware that we have these senses, that you can deflect when it is your own stuff that needs addressing.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, oh, well, I must be picking up on someone else.
Yeah.
So it's worth checking. And if it is ours, then we have acknowledged it. So either we're going to get some help, like get some exercise, do some stretches, get ourselves checked if it's a physical thing, a physical symptom, or you know what? Well, we're indoctrinated with this, but we always check the metaphysical. So if it's ours, we always check what the metaphysical is for it. So if it's your ears, or your hands are stiff, or your knees are stiff, or you've fallen over, or your heart's beating fast, whatever it is, we always check the metaphysical dictionary. Our favourite one is by Lise Bourbeau. What's that dictionary called? I think it's over there. Anyway, that dictionary is called Your Body's Telling You Love Yourself. It is the most extraordinary dictionary, where you look up any symptom and there'll be a metaphysical reason for it. And often it will be what's going on in your life at the time. And one very common thing is when, like, if you get sore back all of a sudden, and the most common thing for people to say is, well, it's the bed. But it's actually usually not the bed. It will be that there'll be some sort of stress going on at the time. Usually the lower back is associated with money and physical existence in life. So there might be this, whether it's conscious or subconscious, fear around not feeling supported, or not being able to support yourself, or not feeling supported by your means at the moment. So check that if you ever get a sore back. Check in with yourself on what's going on. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So something to remember with also when you're working with your sixth sense, the feelings, either physical or emotional, the feelings that you pick on might be filtered through your frame of reference. So I'd like to give you an example to help you understand what I mean by frame of reference when we're talking about feelings and emotions. So let's say that you're tuning to someone and you begin to feel anxious. You might dismiss this if you are familiar with this sensation.
Yep.
Because some of us are quite anxious by nature, or we have quite worrying or traits that make us quite worried, and there is an element of anxiety there.
Yep.
So if you're familiar with that feeling, you might fob it off as that it's you. But if you are tuning to someone else, particularly if you're consciously tuning to them and you get anxious, then it's very likely the person that you're tuning to.
Yeah.
And there might be that they're an anxious person, or they might be feeling anxious because they're working with you in that moment, and and they're a little bit like, not familiar with what's going on, and they're a little bit anxious.
Yeah.
So it's up to your intuition to determine which. So you should get a feeling to back up what it means to them. So if you're tuning to someone else and you get this anxious feeling, then you might get more information either through your seeing sense or your clairaudient sense to back up what the anxiety is about. And it might literally be that you feel anxious and you're like, are you feeling a bit anxious about this? And then your person will affirm or deny, but usually they'll affirm. So you can present it to them something like this. I'm feeling a bit anxious. When this happens to you, breathe and determine if it's yours or if you're picking up on someone near you. So you can, the anxiety that they're feeling could be that they have the clairsentience. It's real strong.
Yeah.
So let them know that that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Like attracts like.
Yeah.
So whether it's a friend that you're tuning to, or a partner, or as we're doing, teaching classes,
Yep.
or seeing clients, then it's absolutely worth for us to let them know that this is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So it's time for exercises. Koki, do you have any more questions?
Maybe one more. If you are, the clairsentience isn't your strongest sense, yeah. How do you? Another question, maybe people might ask, would be, how do you? If it's not your strongest sense, that they might just straight away assume that anxiety's theirs. But like, because they might not get the feelings, like that's not their go-to everyday common feeling that they get. So how do you understand what
I think you're asking me if they are clairsentient but don't know it.
Yes.
Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah. So if they don't think they are that, or if they don't think that's their strongest power, if they don't really know, if they don't know that, then how can they, like, if they just think it's theirs but it's someone else's, for example. But yeah, what you said. So
Well, that's the catch with this is people as individuals are likely to at some point in their life get drawn to this kind of development, like meditating and developing their intuition or their psychic ability. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, unless you literally are talking to them, and because your brother brings his friend over and she feels this way, for example, and you then get a chance to express this, then I think it's a matter of waiting until people reach out.
Yeah.
Because at some point in their life, I think people do reach out, and then it'll probably be the biggest relief for them to understand that they do have this extraordinary capacity, and it's at play all the time. So it's not always them.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do now are some exercises, so that if we're developing this sense, we just got a couple of ways that we can do that.
Okay.
So usually I'm doing these classes by myself, so you have to tune to me, but today I can team up with Coco, and what you can do is the same thing with a friend or your partner or your kids, whoever you want to, but you can pair up. But these are the kinds of things we're going to do. And I guess, given that you'll be watching this, you might like to take notes, and then you're always welcome to comment in the comments, and then I can give feedback. Coco can give feedback too, because she's involved in our Wake Up Circle too now. She's doing the guidance cards that we get each Wednesday. And Coco, how are you feeling about doing the cards?
Yeah, I've been really enjoying it. It's been nice to practice and work on my intuition and getting messages, all the different senses. Sometimes I have a different sense, or for a different card I get a more stronger, like clairsentience or clairaudient.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot now. So Coco just had a real boom in, she's always been really sensitive, but she's just had a boom in what I would perceive as being confidence, and trusting that you can do this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's changed, where you're now really confident with. Does that resonate? Do you feel confident with it now?
Yeah, more confident, and just like it's actually working. If you can say, like, obviously it's always there, but just like channeling into it a bit more and trying to hone in on it and control it, and
Cool, that's good. So Kogi, since we just mentioned that you're doing the cards, and you said that sometimes you get seeing, hearing, or feeling, how about you take a card? I'll take a card actually. I'll pick a card, and I'd like you to explain to us what you're getting and which sense it is.
Okay.
So here's the card. Oops. There we go. So there we go. Tune to that and tell us how your sense is working with it, or which.
Can you hold that up there?
I will.
An example is that, like, when I first look at the card, sometimes I get an emotion. And when I was actually doing a card the other day, I'll just tell a little side story here. When I was doing one of the cards the other day, I could not get the message out, and it was frustrating. Like, it was just frustrating me so much that I couldn't get a message, and it took me like 30 minutes to do like 2 lines to get a message out. And then I worked out and realized that that was the message, that it was forced, and I can't quite remember, but whatever that eventuated to be. But anyway, for this card, I looked at the I'm not sure if you'll be able to pick it up on the camera, but there's like deep shadows and what to me looks like fog, or maybe like low clouds or something like that. And when I look at it, I kind of felt nothing, like maybe emptiness. And yeah, that was my feeling I got for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you're looking at this card,
Yep.
do the same thing. So you get what you get from the card and what feeling you get from the card, and it might be very different to what Coco got for it. I'll do the same since we've pulled this card.
Can I say one more?
Yeah.
I don't need the card, but for me, how I do it, everyone's intuition works differently, but I sometimes just, when I look at it, and maybe because I'm newer to this and trying to work out the best ways to use my intuition, but I take like a deep breath and then try and clear that breath, and then at the end of that comes the emotion from that card. So it's not my feelings or my thoughts that are, like, if I just look at this and think, oh, there's a big stick there, like, I'm not sure that that's the most relevant to anything. So if I just take a breath, it clears my mind automatically, and then in that second I'll get the message that's relevant to that, that's not my brain or my thoughts, my practical side overtaking the intuitive side.
Okay, well, since you've explained how you do it,
Mm-hmm.
or what works for you, I will also explain how it works for me when I look at a card, whether it's for our collective, which we do for the group and which you've probably just picked up on,
Yep.
or if it's for an individual. For me, I look at the card, and it might take a second or it might take a few seconds for something to drop in. So I'm not consciously breathing, or I'm not really consciously doing anything, but I do know now, after all these years, that what happens is something just comes.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to look at this card, so we'll call it tuning, but I'm actually just looking at it. And I have to say that since we're doing Clairsentience, the strong sense that strikes me right away is of anxiety. So anxiety, maybe not, but it's this feeling in my chest that I need to take notice of something. So then how I would present that to someone else as a message is there's some action that you need to take. And and I also can see there's cloudiness or fogginess over here. So to me, this action clears confusion. So if this resonates with you, and let's say it does as you're watching this class, which it likely will, then what you need to do is feel for what the right thing for you to do is, what the right action to take. I feel like you're being called to action to bring clarity. So, and how individually that resonates with you, we leave it with you. So there we go. Coco, that's really interesting to describe how the sense, or how you tune by taking a breath and then clearing so that you know what comes is not for you, or it's not yours. Okay, so Coco and I are going to do a couple of things together. But I want you to also note these so that you can do them with a partner at any time that you can. Or even you can do them distance. For example, if your partner's at work, for example, then you could do these things and maybe even jot them down and check in with them when they get home. Or, given that we've got phones, maybe you're going to text them and say, hey, I've got a feeling that you're feeling really excited, or I've got a feeling you're feeling a bit low. So you can check in with things like that with people that you that aren't going to think you're nuts. But they won't anyway. Everyone loves to be checked on. So, so what I'm saying is tune to someone that you know. Not right now, because we're going to work together. So what I'd like you to do is you're going to focus on, well, you can watch us. Just focus on what we're doing. And as I prompt Coco, you can also get a sense of the same thing, okay? If you get a different response or I get a different response, it's okay, because we're practicing. Yeah? There's no right or wrong in this, because we're honing our senses, and part of that means we're getting to know how our senses work. So, Koki, what we're going to do now is I'll tune to you and you tune to me. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, you tell me the current state of emotion that you pick up that I'm in, and I will sense or tune to you and feel for what yours is. I'm going to close my eyes for a moment and tune. Do you want to go first or me?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
So it didn't take me very long, but I got like 3 keywords: happy, joy, and excitement.
Okay. So can I just point out, if Coco's got happy, joy, and excitement, did you feel them? Or did they come in through your audience?
That happened as well, but I felt like smiling. Like,
okay,
I felt the emotion of that, and then like with those others. So it was a combination of the two, but the happy was the first main big, like me smiling was what I wanted to do.
Well, that's great. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, I do feel like that.
Okay, good.
Okay, and when I tune to you, initially I still have that bit of anxiety.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe there is a little bit of anxiety, because I suppose we're doing this class impromptu and I put you on the spot a little bit. So there's that. But as I tuned to it, it cleared, and I felt the feeling that I felt was actually stable, or stability. So what I take from that is a feeling of confidence, and it's overriding the angst.
Yep.
That's what I feel like. And as I'm saying it to you, it's clearing altogether. So, but you don't have to own that if it's not how you feel.
When you say that, I feel that too. Like, was a bit anxious already.
Yeah. Okay. So, how did you go with that? You can type it in the comments, or you can just note what you got or how you felt. And let's go on to the next one. So this one, we're going to focus on a physical state or a physical symptom. So I want, as we just did, Coco and I will tune to each other. You can tune to us as well, and note that you can tune for a physical state of someone else in your life as well. But let's do this. Oh, I want you to use your Clairsentience. So you're going to tune to me.
Yep.
But you're tuning for a physical symptom or a state. I'm going to give you some examples.
Yes, that'd be good. Thank you.
Okay, so examples of a physical state might be that you get a sense of dehydration. Like, maybe you need to drink some water. Or you might get a sense of feeling energetic or lethargic or tired.
Okay.
Or, so physical state, those kinds of physical sensation.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to tune to. Okay. Okay, I'm going to tune to you as well. Let's see what we get. Or feel. We're feeling.
You go first. Yeah.
Okay. The strongest physical sense that I felt was in my throat. So I just feel like it's about probably water, and also I don't know, I feel vibrant when I'm tuning into your body. Maybe it's because you're young and fit, but I feel quite vibrant.
Okay.
Yeah.
For you, I got I'm not sure if this is the right thing to say as well, okay. But sometimes I got a combination of seeing and feeling.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And it was like, I think it started with like feet, calves, like hamstrings, quads, and just maybe like a bit of a heavier feeling. Or like maybe weighed down. Or maybe like lethargic. Something heavy. Yeah.
Maybe that's from my big walk. Maybe because I did have a big walk this morning. And I was walking up a hill. It's not my favourite thing, but we're walking up the hill, so my legs, they can feel that. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so that's a physical state, and the third one that we're going to do is we're going to do our attempt to sense physical symptoms. So this is almost what people do when they scan bodies and they're like maybe medical mediumship. They can scan a body and get a sense of where that person has an ailment.
Okay.
Now, but I mean, we don't know if the person we're practicing with does have an ailment. So let's give it a go to sense any physical symptoms. Let me give you some examples. So it might be that your knee aches, even just slightly, or you might feel that it's a little bit difficult to breathe. You might have a sore toe. You might feel a headache just for a moment, or aching hands, whatever it might be. So a physical sensation or a physical symptom is what we're going to tune for this. So let's do it. So I think in this case, you might want to consciously tune through the body. You want to go first or me? Please only say this is there if it is, because I want to be legit.
Okay.
But I've got a feeling in here, in my right
quad, hamstring.
Where's your hamstring?
Hamstring's here.
Okay, well that's what I can feel. It's only on my right.
Yeah.
And it just feels really, well, if I had to put a feeling to it, it's achy. So that's what I feel when I'm tuning to you. And I got to tell you that the sentience, I can feel this, but my mind went to your knees.
Okay.
And in particular, your left knee.
Okay.
And it's almost like you need to take care of your knees. And I don't even know how you do that. Okay. But But
That
anyway,
would be through this that your knees are linked, so that makes sense.
it's almost like getting them massaged so that they don't get too tight.
Well, if you loosen here, then that takes a lot of strain off the. So that. Now, this could be a bit funny, but obviously this was mine because I sat. That's why I don't know if you noticed. I moved my position because when I moved, I felt down my exactly the same spot, but. Mum must have been picking up on me as opposed to I was going to say that was for Mum, but obviously that was mine, which I wasn't sure of. So that goes to show that it was mine.
You got to own that one.
But anyway, you're definitely like 100% spot on because right now I can feel it and it's quite sore.
Okay.
Yeah, that specific spot.
Oh, so are you saying that the clairsentient feeling you picked up on was your own?
Yeah, I don't think it was clairsentient. It was probably just a sore body. But yeah.
Okay. So, guys, remember, these are the clairsentience tuning things that you can do to tune into someone. So whether you're doing it literally together like this, or you tune into your friend who's not near you, tune for a current state of emotion, a physical state, as in dehydrated, energetic, lethargic, tired, bouncy, whatever, and a physical symptom. So aching knees, breathing, sore toe, headache, these kinds of things. So those are some exercise or some things you can tune into just to test yourself, strengthen your clairsentience, enhance your clairsentience ability. There's other things that you can also tune to. You can tune to, maybe this is really cool if you don't know the person. Mm-hmm. You can tune to personality traits and like whether a person's happy-go-lucky or serious, or they're funny, or they're strict, or even violent, or maybe they're loving, soft-hearted. You also can sense their traits, if they're creative or practical or academic. So these are the kinds of things that you can sense in someone, particularly if you're reading for them.
Yep.
And you might be talking to your friend who's got a new person. Maybe they've got a new friend or a new colleague or a new partner, and you can tune to their personality trait and say, well, I got a sense that this person's like this. Mm-hmm. Trust it when you get the feeling. Now, to heighten your senses, as we always say, it's ideal that you meditate regularly to develop and continually strengthen your inner senses. And of course, the best way to do that is through meditation, which essentially is slowing yourself down and slowing your mind down and just giving you the capacity to focus more on those inner senses rather than our outer physical human sense. There's another thing that we can do with clairsentience, with a little exercise that I'll just quickly show you. I've only just remembered, is we're going to use crystals, but you can use any object in your hand. Craig, can you take one? Okay, and I'm going to take one as well. But what we'll do, this is a really easy thing to do. So if you can just like take the object and have it in one hand, and then you're going to put your hands out like this. Actually, you do it to me. Put them out to me. And I'm going to feel over to see if I can, to feel if I can sense which hand the stone's in. So put your hands out. Put them out. Oh. I won't cheat, I promise. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, can we see your hands? Just put them up there for the camera. I'm going to just feel over which hand, and that's how I'm going to decide which one the stone's in. I think this one. Ah! So it's this one.
Yeah. So what feeling did you get that was wrong?
Well,
heat or?
Well, this hand felt more heat.
Yeah.
So I assumed, never assume, but then you've just got to get to know how it works for you. So I assumed it was in the warm one because this one felt colder.
Okay.
Which might be the way that you feel it. So this is when we do these types of practicing, you get to know which is the sense that you feel when the object's in the hand or not. So Koki, you're going to be next.
Okay. This one.
Whoa! Okay. So I just dropped it. She got it right. Straight away. So, I mean, this indication can be that clairsentience real strong for you.
Yeah.
But you didn't even feel the other hand. So did you get it
I
through
didn't know I needed to. It just felt really strong, and I thought I didn't want my practical side.
Okay, well, let's do it again. I'm testing you out. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
So what can happen? Your mind comes in and you might start thinking, she must put it in the other hand this time.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to
train.
That's what we want to train. Train that logical mind to butt out.
Yeah.
And really get to know the senses. But truly, even being good at picking which hand it's in isn't an absolute it's not an absolute given that it's a depiction of how strong your sense is, because you might get it in different ways. So that's a little exercise that you can do, and usually you would do that lots of times. You might do it 3 times each, where you're practicing, and then you get to know, oh, it's got the rock in if it goes cold, or usually it goes hot, but I don't know what went on there. For me, it felt cold. Okay. So now we've got a philosophy card. We did do one just before, but at the end of all of these classes, we're going to shuffle again. Koki, you can do it this time. Mm-hmm. Shuffle the cards and take note what energy you pick up from the card. Also, you do this as well. Take notice of what energy you get from the cards, and you can note it. And of course, if you feel compelled, you can write it in the comments as well. Ooh, I love that
Is
card.
That 17 life?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So we're tuning into this?
Yeah.
Or just...
Both of us are.
Oh, okay.
We can do it. What I'll do is I'll tune to it for you. Okay?
Oh, okay.
I'll tune for you, you tune for me, and then we'll tune for all of for when you're watching this class, so that you can take something from it. So we should get 3 different messages from one card. So I'm going to look at this actually. We're supposed to be using clairsentience though. So, okay, with the clairsentience exercise, how about we put the card between our hands? So we're not looking at it, we are actually feeling what energy we get from it. So that's what I'm going to do. I did see the card already, but
that's okay.
I'm getting a feeling for it. I'm actually getting physical sensation from this card. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you where it is now. You can deny it if it's not there, because if it's not, it's my own, but I didn't have it before. But I've got a feeling real tight in this part of my back.
Can you show me that?
In this part of my back.
Yeah.
And it's almost...
More to the... Which side?
There.
Yeah.
So what's that? The right side? Down.
The left side, sorry.
Oh, is that... No, it's left. Sorry, it's the left side.
Yeah.
I'm a bit wonky with my lefts and rights. Yeah, so it just feels it on both sides, but more so on the left, and it's tight. Mm-hmm. Do you feel it?
More on the right side.
Oh.
Like on right there, but more on this side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got it on that side as well.
Yeah.
All right. Your turn. Aren't the cards cool? We can use them for every sense, developing every single sense of ours.
I get a sense of, I'm not sure which, calmness. Yeah, calmness for you. I think you're calm and like my breath went steady. Me personally, that was my indication for it. Went steady and just nice and easy, and yeah, so just calm. Like, yeah,
Excellent. I must say, most of the time, not 100%, but most of the time, I feel calm. Yeah, and I feel calm now. So, there we go. Self-awareness is the ultimate activism.